actually, the courts you go to, there are no people, only families.
Yeah, I can hear things.
They don't check your paperwork.
But they still tested you, and one guy tested positive on the way back. Weird.
So camp come to order, please. Secretary Treasurer, please call the roll.
Commander Rick Stevens,
Present.
Senior Vice Commander Lynn Stott,
Here. On video.
Commander John Horton,
Yes, sir.
Camp Council Bob Archibald. He's here on Zoom. Dennis Diatley,
Bob's muted.
William Smith here. Secretary Treasurer, I am here. Chaplain Dave Moore here. Color Bearer Bill Smith here. Counselor Tim Prater here. Guard John Ruggles. Guide Dave Palmatier. Historian, I am here. Memorials Officer Avery Grant. Here. And Patriotic Instructor Jim Heller.
Present.
He is here via Zoom. The roll is called, Commander.
Thank you. Could you please also announce our brothers joining us via Zoom?
Okay, it looks like we have brothers Lynn Scott, our Senior Vice Commander. We have Bob Archibald, Council Member, and past Department Commander Jim Heller, and he is also our Patriotic Instructor. Welcome.
Thank you.
Brothers, upon what principles is our order founded and what duties do we instill?
Charity, and loyalty.
Please rise. Chaplain Moore, could you invoke the divine blessing?
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, high and mighty ruler of the universe, who looks down upon us, the government of men, we earnestly ask your favor to bless our native land and preserve our purity and integrity as free institutions for all coming time. Bless our order, grant that it may long exist, and that we may continue to be an instrument of great good for all. Give us willing hands and ready hearts to carry out properly its principles and objectives. Keep green in our minds the memory of those who sacrificed so much that the life of this nation may be preserved, and deal with them as in all things with your special mercy. Give us your aid in conducting the business which we are assembled, and so bless us with charity and peace. Charity and justice, and peace and harmony shall remain in full from us. Amen.
Amen. Let us recite the American's Creed as printed in your agenda. I believe in the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the government, democracy in a republic,
A sovereign nation of many sovereign states,
a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon those principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to defend our country, to love it, to support its constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, to defend against its all enemies. Patriotic Instructor Heller, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
My speaker's on. Please stand if you can and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two. Thank you.
Great.
By the virtue and power and authority invested in me, I now declare the General U.S. Grant Camp Number 3, Department of the Southwest, Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War, duly open for the transaction of such business as may legally and properly come before it. Please be seated. Welcome to Flagstaff. Isn't this place great? This place is
Hi,
just
Jude.
fantastic. This has been one of the best meeting places we could even have. We got our brothers. We can see them up behind me here. Of course, I have to have the eyes at the back of the head, which I haven't had since my kids were teenagers. We do have. Well, sort of okay. Sort of okay. We do have one guest with us today. Mr. David, you want to introduce your guest?
Oh, this is my wife, Jan Swanson.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, well, the joke, she has a broken leg, so she can't stand up and dance.
Broken ankle.
So, ankle. Well, that's kind of part of the leg. Isn't it? All right. Chaplain Moore, do you have a report on any ill brothers or families in need?
I do not, unless there's someone else who does something.
Well, the only thing that I know of is a future brother that was in an automobile accident. Steve Bigelow, he was at our Prescott meeting. I'm going to roam just a little bit here. He was coming up to 17 and there was some slow vehicles. And I'm just going to grab this over here for a second. And so he slowed down, but apparently the automobile behind him didn't slow down. Yeah, he was up in Prescott. Yeah. So he's planning on joining us, probably at our July meeting. We'll get him hopefully all swore in. I don't know where he's sitting in the paperwork right now. He's got a lot of irons in the fire going on, but I know they're building a house up in Prescott and they live down in Peoria. So he's up and down to 17 a lot. But I drove by later on that day. I was coming home from Tucson from our department meeting. And I saw this mangled Honda on the side of the road with a tire at about an angle like that. So, you know, the axle's gone. That was the car that hit him in the back. So he had supposedly had whiplash, but he wasn't sore. He just was having some headaches. So hopefully that'll all clear out and he'll be doing okay. So that's the only in need. And Chaplain Moore had a little surgery that you made through just fine on his wrist, and he's happy with that. So we're good there. Do you want to go ahead and read the birthdays coming up?
Sure. They're not in any particular order for the last 3 months, but we've got Jerry Bloom on 6/26, Ray
Heckathorn?
yes, 4/8. Jim Keller, 6/27 was his birthday. Dan Mason, 5/5. Brother Gene McCarthy on 6/4. John Ruggles, 4/8. Paul Stenster, 6/14. Lynn Scott was on 6/21. There's somebody named David Swanson on 6/20. Another birthday for David. All right, David. John Thorpe was also on 5/7, and happy birthday, belated, so forth. Thank you, brothers.
That's half the brothers.
Got a lot of brothers here who have birthdays, and happy birthday, guys.
Thank you,
Coming up.
Commander.
Coming up. So I'll call now for the approval of the minutes of last meeting. Brother Dale?
Commander, the minutes from our January meeting were distributed, I believe, to everyone by email. I did not receive any additions or corrections. So
Motion to approve? Mark?
Aye.
Motion and a second? I heard a second.
second.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Pass. And Minutes approved, and might as well just keep going on with the treasurer report there, Brother Dale.
Okay, treasurer's report. The quarterly report was just finished for the quarter that just ended yesterday. I've gotten a couple of signatures. Brother Archibald, I'll send that to you by DocuSign for your review and signature on that quarterly report. But we are in excellent shape. In our checking account, we have $4,143.55. Our scholarship fund stands at $1,255. Wow. The checking account will go down a little bit because the annual per capita will be going out to national here in the next couple of weeks, and that's about $1,200. That covers everybody's national dues for the year. Any questions on the treasurer's report?
Great job. Thank you.
Fantastic as always.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure as a new commander to welcome a new brother to our group. And if I could have everybody rise, please. Brother Stedman, please step forward. Commander, or excuse me, Chaplain Moore. I made him a commander. Did you see that? Please step forward as well. And Dale, I might have you maybe tweak a camera a little bit here, and anywhere up here is fine. Now, why don't you come behind? Let's do that because that'll be on the camera a little bit better. And I'll stand way the heck out of the way here.
How's that?
So right now, if any brother has any reason to question the eligibility or suitability of our new brother Jeffrey Stedman, please speak now. No one brave enough. All right, we like that. Chaplain, I will turn it over to you.
Okay.
And there's
Brother
responses
Jeffrey,
if
please
you want.
raise your right hand and say after me. Repeat after me, please. In the presence of the great Creator
in the presence of the great Creator
and witnessing members of the camp,
and witnessing members of the camp,
I hereby voluntarily and solemnly pledge myself
I hereby voluntarily and I hereby voluntarily and solemnly pledge myself
there you go, to support and defend
to support and defend
the government of the United States of America,
the government of the United States of America,
to offer my life if needed be,
to offer my life if needed be,
to preserve the flag from being lowered in defeat,
to preserve the flag from being lowered in defeat,
to always observe the day set aside
to always observe the day set aside
by the Grand Army of the Republic as Memorial Day,
by the Grand Army of the Republic as Memorial Day,
sacred to the memories of the Union soldiers and sailors
sacred to the memory of the Union soldiers and sailors
of the 1861 to 1865,
of 1861 to 1865,
and do all in my power to persuade others to do the same,
and do all in my power to persuade others and to do the same,
to be faithful in all my duties of citizenship,
to be faithful in all duties of citizenship,
to be obedient to the law of the land,
to be obedient to the law of the land,
to obey the Constitution and regulations of the order,
to obey the Constitution and regulations of the order,
and to promote activity, its objects, and interest,
and to promote activities, its objects, and interests,
always and everywhere.
always and everywhere.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Now you can lower your hand.
Brothers may sit down, please. We'll,
Do I come up front?
no, I'll tell you, I'm just gonna sneak around the backside here.
Do we have a photo op of baskets over here?
Oh, you did fine.
I lost my place.
Oh, we all do that. All right. We have our rosette. Everybody has a rosette and your badge. Hold that. On the badge of our order, the inscription, Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War, reminds us of our highest state and our duty to our country. We are the Sons of Union Veterans. May we prove ourselves worthy of this title. The ribbon is a union of red, white, and blue, the colors of our country's flag. The red signifies the unstinted streams of blood shed that the blessings of a free government might be our heritage, and that our own blood is pledged to preserve the freedoms and responsibilities we so gladly received. The blue tells us of that true faith and allegiance which our forefathers held to their country and to each other, and charges us to be mindful of their example. The white represents peace, which with honor may our country always enjoy. The motto, preserved by the grace of God, reminds us that without the overruling hand of an all-wise providence, that sacrifices of our forefathers could have afforded nothing, and that God's favor alone can secure the preservation of our liberties. Like the eagle, may we be quick to discover our country's needs, strong in its defense, and swift to carry out the objects of our order. So here's your rosette. You have your badge. You have a certificate for the guys on Zoom. Thank you. Officers and brothers, I take great pleasure in introducing our new brother, Jeffrey Stedman, bound to us by the sacred ties of fraternity, charity, and loyalty. Let us give him a brotherly welcome. Brother Stedman, if you have anything to say in front of the camp, you may. Tell them what you do, a little bit about yourself if you want to. The floor is yours.
My name is Jeffrey Michael Stedman. I'm a new brother to this camp, and I'm very happy to be a part of it. I hope we can do a lot more stuff and to help out where we can and to preserve our history of the Grand Army of the Republic. I am 23 years old. I work up at Camp Navajo, which is just down the street. I'm armed security, and I work with the military to keep the base secure. I graduated high school in 2018, and hopefully I can go from, where I'm at now to other places and do better.
Huzzah. Nice. Very good. You want Avery to pin your membership badge on you? You want to do that, Avery? That'd make a great photo op in front of the basket there. Tim. Are you a native Arizona, Jeff?
Yes.
All right. Very good. Over here.
Avery's going to pin his badge on.
Avery's going to pin you.
I should probably turn that camera around. Try not to give you guys motion sickness.
Okay.
There we go. That is-
Put your badge on.
How we doing there? There we go. Now you can see our whole room there,
Looking
guys.
good, looking good.
All right, it's a great venue. Good deal.
Verify, we gave him his membership
Yes.
certificate in Tucson.
Yeah, Brother Stedman got a certificate down in Tucson where he was a delegate for our camp. which is fantastic. Past Commander Prater, we have another presentation for Brother Stedman. Brother Stedman. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Hey,
Turn this a little bit here.
I would like to say one thing that we don't do is we don't
Very
normally
good.
give this to our newest member. But through, let's see, where's he at? Where is
We look for?
Bill Smith?
Right
Good.
I haven't lost any weight.
Bill gave this to me, to give to you, to welcome you. So if it fits, fine. If not, you can carry it up on your wall.
Target practice.
Right on.
All right.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Hey, hey. Now, I don't have the whole history behind this. I think you know the history behind this, but I'm going to present as the current commander. Take a look at that, try to figure out what it is. And
We have
Mr.
a great friend, his name is Bill Nelson. And he spoke to this group. And as a speaker, he made this stand. And this is a railroad tie. And as you can see, this is 23. This railroad tie is 100 years old. And this Grand Camp is going to be around for another 100 years, hopefully because of you. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
and you're all-
Thank you very much.
yeah.
I hope it'll be as much help as I can,
Well, I hope so.
even for the backbreaking work.
Oh, we got plans for you, brother.
Commander,
Yes.
just want to add something to it because this came to me through an old, really old guy. Anyway, it's a wooden nickel. And I wanted him to add this. This is very special. It's been through a lot. But here's your wooden nickel also. Congratulations.
Here we go.
Guys,
By the way, the wooden nickel came around during the Civil War. It's the first time a wooden nickel was used was in the state of Washington, just among little communities. So I'm suggesting you hold on to this for about 250 years. It's gonna be rich and very much.
Digital money?
Yeah.
Digital.
Brothers, we're going to take a short recess here for comfort breaks and 5 minutes or so, and we'll reconvene.
All right.
Get this turned around so now I can talk to you guys again. So far, how's the sound been so far?
Good.
It's been okay?
Yeah, I have, for me, yeah.
I worked on the assembly line
Yeah, it was clear at times.
500 times a day.
Yeah, I've got a couple mics that are floating around and can you hear me okay though when I'm up front? That you can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Okay, good. There's another,
If they had, that would be.
so we got the other floating mic. I better not get them too close. They might screech at us.
No. If you would, could you put it down in an email and that way I will be reminded and I will know exactly what needs to be done. So thank you, brother.
Yeah, we normally don't take a break, but I was looking back at some of the samples and what they had up on the website. And there's always a short recess in there for them. I like it. Why not?
And have
and I should look this way. By the way, the food here is great too. So if you, and it's, I thought Lynn was coming up today. You couldn't quite make it.
No, just curious. I got a friend coming home from hospice a little early, so we were down there getting their house ready.
Understandable. It's gorgeous up here in Flagstaff today. It's in the 50s, and there's a lot of flooding on the sides of the roads, but other than that, everything was dry and just winter potholes. Welcome to Flagstaff. So we'll get going in a few minutes here.
Between you and Dave and Jam. That's my, my virtual crowd.
Yeah, so much to come.
I wish I was in the room. I got to do the show.
There's a lot of.
She was Joan. We paid $22 a month for the house. Yeah. This machine here, 67%.
Please share some photos.
I like this place. Well, it's nice for you guys to see. Now, it's my disadvantage because it's here for me, but.
It's okay. Yeah, it's and we're always trying to keep.
Wow.
Crazy.
Hopefully we
up at the Scottsdale Library. They have this size right here. Yeah, so $60.
Wow. I don't think they're charging us here for this. I don't think they're charging us just for food. I think they wanted some more bodies in here. Yep. Hopefully we get a little bit more.
Guys across the peak are looking for places, looking for things. They want $500 to. I'll always ask if there's a place in Scottsdale. I'll go.
Yeah, and I
The room is
email you.
You were looking like this.
And it's got their email address.
So I said, okay, how much do you want? $500. And then you get to order food.
Oh, wow.
He said, that's a bargain. You want
I will send you. You're on our Facebook group, right?
I couldn't believe
On
it.
the Grant Facebook group.
It's crazy.
Oh, golly, I'm gonna steal one of these glasses of water, I think.
But yeah, I'll make a note and
It's amazing what they can try to charge on that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
No, I was. So what did you have?
A euro?
Is it good?
Yeah.
I had the burger and it was really good.
You know, where we live in Cape Creek, HOA. So we just had a deal half a mile from our house and we bought the tequila place. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm talking like $6 each.
I've been here $6 each.
Finish up what you ordered.
My grades. I only have
Order $6.
And
You only need one to set the 3 normal ones.
Wow. And there were actually 60 people in there.
Owner was there giving out little shots of different kinds of things.
Oh, boy.
Holy cow. Just not a tequila drink.
Yeah. Is everybody back? Oh, yeah, 1 or 2 I'm done. There better be a margarita around. I think we'll resume here. Water for the commander. We're going to get her going in a second here, guys.
I don't get to eat.
Everybody back.
My wife is not here in the area. And all Mexican food has got cheese. So we very seldom ever go. I think I'm all done.
Thanks, man. Ready?
Are you about ready?
Yeah. Looks like everybody's back. Fantastic. All right. Brother Enlow, can you do the reading and disposing of any orders or communications for us?
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna go about reading all of the orders. Since our last US grant meeting, there have been, let me count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 general orders from national, and 2 special orders.
What the hell was happening there?
Yeah, well, just a couple of them were for, one was for the passing of past CNC Harrison and past national president of the Betty Baker. And a couple of them were about revocations of camps that weren't filling in their forms correctly or getting them in on time. One of the special orders was the skill survey. I think everybody got it. I'm not sure what the reason behind that was all about.
It'd be interesting to see the percentage filled out.
Yeah, exactly. But those were the national ones. They are sent out, and I believe the commander sends them out if it seems to be something of general interest. You know, if it has asking for a memorial ribbon or whatnot, he sends them on out. Or, you know, it has something to do that brothers might be interested in, he sends them out. But if it's something that's really not too interesting, or then we just hold on to it. But I have copies of all of them. They post them on the website, so you should be able to find them. And if not, give me a holler by email or phone. I'll get it to you. Our department, since the last meeting, issued 2 department orders. One was the change of command. I think in just a little bit, we'll have a report about the department encampment. But that was our new department commander is Ken Hooker. Some of you know him, real nice guy. And the second one was the passing of Pearl Harbor veteran Jack Holder. And asked us to have a memorial ribbon for that. But I think I was taken to task by someone that we weren't supposed to do that. We could do a mourning ribbon somewhere other than the badge. It has to come from the CNC to do that.
Oh, I did not know that.
It's easier to get forgiven than it is to get permission.
Well, I certainly agree with that. And just a reminder that Jack Holder was 101 years old. And at age 19, he was a U.S. Navy pilot stationed in Pearl Harbor. He was a member of PBY Squadron VP-23 on Ford Island. And he said the first bomb that fell on Pearl Harbor was about 100 yards away from me. So he survived the attack, obviously, flew over 100 missions, and turned the tide of war. And he got many awards, including 2 Distinguished Flying Cross medals and a presidential citation. He was honorably discharged in 1948. So that's why we're draping. If National doesn't like it, I'm sorry. We're gonna pay him honors. We've draped our charter. Thank you. Sometimes the words don't come, but and so I feel very good that we're doing the right thing on that. That's a good thing to do. And I believe that was brought up by Brother Avery down in Tucson at the department meeting. So I'm glad you brought that forward. That's really good. So let's head into the reports. That's all the communications, right? So,
Yep.
all righty. Let's head into some of the reports. Let's start with our ROTC, JROTC program. Brother Prater, if you want to present for us. Anywhere you want to stand, sir.
Okay.
Come on up here if you want.
Well, first of all, still got to thank Brother Archibald for setting up this ROTC program for us. We're certainly the better for it, Bob, and thank you so very much. I've been in contact with all of the ROTC programs, and we have individuals that have been identified to make presentations in Prescott, at the high schools and at the university, Embry-Riddle. So we're covered there well. Coconino is going to be covered by Dale, as his great niece is a cadet. What year is she now?
Pardon?
What year is she now as a cadet?
She's a junior.
A junior. So it'd be kind of pretty neat to have him down there, and I'm hoping that maybe he can get a picture taken with her and we can do a little article for our newsletter. But I congratulate
Thank you.
on that. And our chaplain, our chaplain is going to try to make a presentation of the JRTC Award opinion, either between him or his son, who is about, 50 years younger than you? So anyway, whenever we can, I think it's really important that we actually shake the hand and congratulate these young men and women. And so we're pretty excited about that. And what's really helpful is that in Prescott Valley at Bradshaw Mountain, Dick is going to make the presentation on behalf of the sons of the Union veterans, but we also have a brother with the Sons of the American Revolution, Bill Oden, and he's going to make presentations at NAU, Army, and Air Force for us. So I just see really good cooperation between the SAR and the Sons of the Union Veterans of the Civil War, even though the Sons of the Union Veterans of the Civil War is a better organization. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm just kind of partial to this group. And I want to thank you for coming on board. And we need an infusion of talent, and you're it. So just really congratulations on that. As long as I'm up here, I'd just like to jump into the scholarship and be done with that.
Go ahead and keep going with that.
As relates to the scholarship, we started this out a year ago, $500, and I had to work pretty hard to get one person to apply, but we did it. So I thought, well, maybe this year, maybe we'll get more. I can only get one professor of military science to work with us. So I'm hoping for one, maybe two applicants this year, but we had to extend the application to April 15th. And what I wanted to bring up to our commander and all of us is that I got an interesting comment from one of the instructors. He said, I want to give you my 2 cents worth. Most of these guys are chasing scholarships around $7,500, not $500. And as Dale said, my gosh, it only takes 10 minutes to do that. But, you know, that might be something that we need to be thinking about. What are your thoughts on that, Rick?
Well, I look at it this way, $500 is good. And if they don't want to apply for it, we'll just roll it over to next year. I mean, that'll be then maybe we can do it for 1,000. We got 1,200 in the fund. The roundup stuff that we're doing with our dues is just thumbs up, really good for that account. And just my opinion, I'm not going to turn anybody's arm for a scholarship.
Because, like, you know, I just got, you know, all our scholarships, you know, from all of our organizations and things. And, you know, I made $5,000 off of $500 scholarships, you know, so you just have to apply yourself, you know, and if they're not willing to apply themselves because of the money is too low, then I think it should be rolled over too. Because I don't think that those are the people that we want to be honoring. It's just about, you don't give enough money.
Right. So perhaps what we can do, we can hold this conversation over till maybe our third or fourth quarter meeting, where we can maybe have a resolution and approve $1,000 for next year. But for now, if no one wants to take us up on it, let's just hold on. Brother Dale?
Just a question, have you got any feedback? I mean, are they reticent to apply because our form is too onerous, or?
Well, I thought that, and again, I thank Bob for having a template for that. The application, there's no problem with, as far as I'm concerned. A couple pages, but it's just so easy. But I think it's motivation on the part of the cadets. In some cases, up on the reservation, you know, they have a different culture and they have different sources of money. So there's probably lots of reasons, but at least this year, I think we're going to get 2 nominations, and I think we should honor that. And then next year we can relook how we do this. And if, I'm not saying it won't work, but if ROTC doesn't work, there's another program that Dick and I are kind of working on, which involves a certain kind of pamphlet, which we can kind of explain what that's about. So I think there's lots of alternatives that we can still use in the future if this doesn't work out. And even if it doesn't work out, I think it's been a hell of a ride. You know, that's the thing. We're trying to do the best we can do. Okay, that's what I have on these 2.
Okay, well, why don't you just keep going while you're up? Let's talk about Eagle Scouts.
Eagle Scouts. Oh, been working on that for 2 years. We finally got one Eagle Scout certificate signed by our commander today. What the SAR did in Prescott is they said, we want to give Eagle Scout awards for everybody going back 2 years. So they're doing something like 30 or 40 certificates. But the way we're doing it is only for this past year. So I don't know, maybe we want to talk to Dennis Lamb about more, or just kind of do what we're doing. After this next, and we'll be there I'm hoping that David will join me, and we're actually going to be able to attend the ceremony and get pictures and make more contacts. And I think that program will continue to grow. And I would like to see it up here in Flagstaff, because that's our home. And we want to make our presence more known than that. Okay, did I confuse everyone very well? Thank you. Okay. Okay, anybody else? Okay.
Okay,
There you go.
thank you, sir.
And on the agenda, we have Memorial Day. Prescott. And I just want to say that last year, I did the Memorial Day speech at the Arizona Memorial Cemetery at Camp Navajo. And I had an email from the administrator, so I'm going to do that again this year. So if anybody's in the Flagstaff area, that's another opportunity for us to get the word out.
They have a Gettysburg Address plaque at Camp Navajo too
Fantastic.
in that cemetery.
What's that?
They have a Gettysburg Address plaque in that cemetery too.
You should.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of getting out of base, but I know you guys think that I'm really blowing smoke. But whenever I'm out and about, since I'm going to be doing the Gettysburg Address, I've got it in my wallet here, right here. I'm memorizing this stuff. I'm going to do it. Anyway, I get the honor of reciting the Gettysburg Address, which was done by Dale last year. So I think our presence in Prescott is being felt. I really do. And should I talk now? You can get it out of the way.
We can do that too.
Okay.
I'm easy.
But Memorial Day, what we're trying to do, and this goes back to Bill, you know, he forced us to have an event a couple of years ago, and we just keep building on that. Well, now, the day before, we contacted daughters of the Union Veterans, DAR, and right now we know for a fact that we're going to have eight of the ladies coming, and we've invited JRTC. And I wouldn't be surprised if we had about 20 people there. We'll be putting flags in. We'll be cleaning all of the veteran graves. And I contacted Home Depot, and just by next Wednesday, we should have 100 new flags, water. I mean, they want to provide everything for us.
Nice.
So I really want to give a shout out to Home Depot, whether it's in Prescott or not. They're really taking good care of us. So if anyone lives in the Prescott area or is going to be there the day before, 9 o'clock at Citizen Cemetery is when we're going to do our thing. And I think it's really going to be a meaningful thing. I think it'll be as big as Memorial Day. Really, everybody kind of comes together.
Well, we did it last year, and that
great time.
we had a pretty good turnout last year, and we did pretty well. Of course, we were kind of doing a find a grave too. Citizens,
Yeah.
there's a lot of unmarked there, so we were putting flags where we think the grave is in some cases, but
They've all been marked. We've all got the flag holder. You see that there? And the last, and I'll say this to this young man here, is that the last headstone that we put on was for a veteran from the Spanish-American War. And I'd just like to commend this young man for starting our own chapter here of the Spanish-American War in Arizona. And I just
First one ever.
for that. That's great.
Cool.
And you just put an announcement up of the last Civil War veteran that served in the war, then participated in the Spanish-American War.
Yeah,
That's kind of ironic. Okay,
oh, that's okay.
I'm sorry, did I?
Oh, no, you're fine. I'm just making sure they can hear you.
What did I do? Did I?
You got to get back to it.
Oh,
No, I put it down over there.
Okay. Okay, so that's it, unless you have any questions, sir.
Have we heard any more from the National Cemetery in Preston?
I made 3 calls and they don't even return my calls. I'm gonna go down there Monday. They're under new management.
Yeah.
So I've got to break into that because our source really is gone. So I'll be letting you know next week.
Yeah, now we were talking about our source being Becky.
Yes.
Who
that's
we
right.
talked about last meeting. We're going to present her with a certificate of thanks at our next meeting in July. and she's going to be there with her husband, but she's no longer on that committee for the National Cemetery, which was, it's too bad. Now, we have the opportunity of inviting the new person to come to our next meeting as well. So maybe we should just go, I'll just go ahead and I have his name. I'll get his address and I'll send out a letter to ask as well. We got something happening on our screen. There we go. We're good. We're good. Sorry, guys, Windows got you a little bit, but we're good now.
Have the, Rick, have the Gold Star mothers have the same problems?
Well, it's with everything, right? We have, you know, as a Gold Star family, we haven't been contacted or anything. So,
Newspaper.
Well, I just
Here's-
if I could get a call back.
Yeah. That's,
okay, so this is me being me. I hear that kind of stuff, that they don't want to do any show or anything like that. And we're going to be at Citizen Cemetery 2 blocks away from this place anyway. After Citizens, why don't we just muster on over to the National Cemetery? We can park right at the bottom of the hill. We have our banner. Let's just walk up the hill, and if anybody's there to listen to us, that's fine. We'll let Mr. Enlow, or Brother Enlow, sorry, to recite the Gettysburg Address. I've asked my wife to be there as a Gold Star mother as well. And so we will still represent, and that's just my idea of me being me.
Public property.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It is public property. It's a national cemetery. They can't say we can't do that. So what say you? You want to try that?
One way or the other.
Yeah,
Yeah, go for
yeah. I say we go for that.
you're too young to be going through that.
So good deal. Good deal. All right. So
We got no excuse.
let's move on to talk about the grave markers and the last soldier markers. We were planning on going over to the cemetery today, but there's a little bit of snow out there yet, and I think we don't want to be slip sliding and going into mud and whatever else to try to find some of these graves that are flat on. I mean, they're flat stones on the ground, so that's just not going to work for us. But I have all the markers with me, not just in case. They were in my box anyway, so in case you guys have never seen what these markers look like, that's what they're on a big long rod. And so has everybody seen a marker? We can pass one around if you want to pass one around. They're very nice. They're very nice. So brothers France and Archibald, if you want to talk about those grave markers and last soldier markers, that would be great.
I'm not sure there's anything that needs to be said.
Oh, nothing else needs to be said. Okay. Well,
We bought them, we can't put them out because of snow, done.
yeah. So let's just kind of play this by ear. Now, Brother France, you graduate up here in,
Hey,
it's in May. Okay. I'm going to have you be the eyes on that cemetery. When it gets to the point where there's no standing water and the ground's still kind of soft, that we could probably stick a marker in without needing a jackhammer.
yeah, it should be soon. So if people want to drive up and do it, they can. The last soldier marker, I've been waiting too, because it's even worse than Flagstaff. Because it's gonna go up in Williams,
Right.
and that one is dirt roads, not maintained.
Oh, it's dirt roads to get to that cemetery.
It's dirt roads in the cemetery, and they're not maintained, and so with the constant snow and water, it kind of took out some roads to make it
Okay.
in the washes, you know? And there's, everything's still covered in snow there, because it's also in the forest, so it takes less, the snow stays for longer. 'Cause
Right.
it's sunshine.
Now you have in your possession that marker, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and before I go and leave, it will go out there, even if I have to take a shovel and take out snow.
Yeah, no, we'll take care of it one way or another.
Yeah.
We'll have we'll announce it so any brother that wants to show up can do that. I believe we'll probably have a little ceremony with that as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna concrete it in, so.
Oh, okay. So
I
you're-
would like to say something.
Yes, sir.
Regarding the last veteran of each county, I believe we have like 3 for different counties at the Williams Cemetery. They're all buried in Williams, but they're representing the last known soldier of 3 of our counties, as I recall.
That
So
would
that's
not
kind of awkward, so I don't know what we do.
How would that make sense if it's?
Do they have to
last
physically be in the
veteran-
county?
Last veteran of each county.
I would
yeah.
think, but doesn't have to, I guess.
I don't know why don't
He's just getting confusing.
Brother Avery and Brother Archibald figure out what
It's
the
already
rules
been,
are on
we
that.
already have a list of every single last veteran of each county. We're following that list. It's already been made. It's on our department website. It's not up to any sort of debate of who's who. It's who's buried in each county.
So it's buried in each county. So, okay,
Yeah.
well, we have one in Williams. And again, we'll wait.
One last.
I think we have
Yeah,
3 in
you'll have-
Williams.
For instance, you would have one in Coconino County, one in Mojave County, one in Maricopa County. There's not, 3. That would not make any sense.
Well, we have Apache County, we have Navajo County, and we have Mojave County, whatever, or counties.
Yeah.
We have
You
6 or
put
7
those-
counties, but each one has their own last known, but they're not all buried in the separate counties. I think 3 are buried in Williams, if I recall. 3 different county reps are in Williams.
Then they're not the last veteran of buried in each county.
So the consensus
Right,
is
right.
that they need to be buried in the county.
I would think that's be appropriate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
that's
let's just
what
follow that. So we have one.
When we get to the department report, I've got something to.
Okay, we'll wait for the department report and we'll continue with that at that point in time. So for now, Brother Avery, you're gonna keep an eyeball on the cemetery, and then when it looks like thumbs up, we can do it. I'll put out an email saying, hey, whoever wants to do this, let's do this on hopefully we can do it on a Saturday or something like that.
Yeah, the ceremony.
Where we can
Yeah.
go up and just put the markers in, and then we'll come back at a later date with a ceremony to honor these men at that point in time. This is just a matter of being dirty and pounding stuff in the ground and putting the markers up. And
Yeah, and this list was made by David Jackson, and it was approved by the department long ago.
right, no, we have all 8 markers, and so again, our hope was to do it today, but the ground would be soft enough, maybe, if it's not frozen. It appears to be warm, but it's just going to be sloppy. So we'll skip over that. Brother-in-law.
And I do have another question. I think, at the last meeting, we had, identified, and I didn't bring that file with me, but apparently there is, the one for Yavapai County. Was anybody able to find that grave? It's supposed to be Mountain View
Yeah,
Cemetery and Preston.
Tim and I are going to do that.
Okay.
We know where the cemetery is. We just haven't gotten together to do that. So I'll let you spearhead that and let me know when you want to do it.
Are those markers still available? I think when we ordered the last one, was the last one they had.
He had 3 left. We got one of those 3. This is a guy back in Wisconsin that forges or is connected to the forge that creates these markers. And there was 2 other ones. So do we want to go ahead and procure another marker for Yavapai County?
It's all part of our area,
Yeah,
Well,
as well as Navajo County and Apache County. We have a last known one or 2.
yeah,
I would contact the cemetery first before you decide.
okay.
Because like, for instance, if you wanted to do that in Maricopa County for the last one, they would charge you $500.
Well, we're not, Maricopa County is not under this camp.
I'm saying.
Right, yeah, he did hear you, so.
Yeah, I'm saying for example, so if you went to go to Maricopa County and you went to the cemetery and you said, we'd like to put out this marker, they would say $500 and you can't put it out yourself. And if you do that, then they would also say, well, then that's a property that we can dig up, because I've had Greenwood Cemetery say that to me before. So I would suggest that before we order another marker, we would contact the cemetery and see if we have permission to put it out there.
Are you volunteering to do that?
No. So
I can try in Mohave County. I can try in.
I'm like, I did Williams. I also went to Coconino County, got approval, you know,
Okay.
from that citizen cemetery too. But
Tim, do you have contacts for the
you'd have to go to Mountain View and
for the Yavapai? That's it.
Mountain View, but I can get.
Okay. Or do you want me to do it? I can do it too. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Figure out. We'll contact these cemeteries first, and we'll find out what the rules
Yeah.
are.
Because
The citizen cemetery up here for placing the markers, we don't care. If someone steals, it's not our problem.
yeah, and that's like, you know, that's the same with like Williams. Like, oh, we don't even take care of it. You know, you go to the library and you get permission. That's how it happens. So
Yeah.
it's not even. But with these like established cemeteries like Mountain View, I think you would have to.
All right. Well, it's our intention to do good work here, and we're trying our best. So, unless there's any other discussions about markers, or we'll move on. Yes, Brother Stedman.
Hopefully, once we put the markers up, more that they won't get stolen. Kind of like how days ago our flags up front of the base got stolen with the flag post.
Well, I'm not so much worried about Williams because it's kind of out of two weeks.
Well, it's going to be concreted in.
Oh, we're going to concrete
I'm
that one in.
concreting that thing in.
The markers themselves.
The markers themselves, they could be stolen if they wanted to. I don't think they're going to be stolen. The same ones from the 1920s are still there.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, Brother David, you said you had done one cemetery where you used coffee cans with concrete and put it in and dug a hole and.
That's what we did in Phoenix years ago. The Pioneer Military Park in Phoenix. So we put them in coffee cans and cemented them in. And then the other thing we did, though, you'll notice that the bar that goes behind the actual marker, that just screws on.
Yeah.
We went to a welder and have that welded on, so people just can't go and unscrew that from the shaft.
There we go. That's an idea too. I was thinking a Loctite or something like that, but
Well, that might work.
epoxy would do it too. That's not such a bad idea to just epoxy the dang things in. As far as the cemetery, I don't know if they're going to, citizens up here in Flagstaff, I don't know if they're going to want us to dig holes or not, but
I'm not sure, because they said that they wanted that if they became unsightly, that they would want to remove them.
if they become unsightly, I don't know what, these are lovely.
So
They're not unsightly.
yeah,
So,
they'd probably say no. You can always ask, but the one in Williams, I'm making flush.
okay, for the, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have like a pan, and I have silicone spray, and then I pop it out of the pan and the mold, and then I stick it back into the ground.
That'll work. That'll work. Anybody else have anything on that? Okay, let's move along here. Let's talk about, next on our list is the Dropbox. So technology, that's me, I'm a geek. Sorry, that's the way it goes. Dale and I have been sharing files through a product called Dropbox, just an online file folder. The files are they're stored on your computer, but they're synced, if you will, between computers. We've been using it. I've been putting all the emails and I mean, the agenda I created on there, and you were able to edit it. We didn't have to send it back and forth. I thought that was swell. It worked really, really well. Did you have any comments about it?
No, the only thing that I would say is it also helps if you have a very large file
Yeah.
like maybe the department newsletter or something like that. It's easier to save it to Dropbox and share it with everyone than it is to put it into an email and attach it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes my email kicks back, you know, and says, oh, this is too big of a file to send.
Yeah. So we've been testing with this. The next level of this would be to open it up to the rest of the brothers. I got to look at security on that, because if I'm creating meetings for the next or minutes for the next meeting and stuff like that, I sorry, I don't want everybody in there editing it. So we'll have to have some security on that. I'll figure that out. I know we can do that by email address, I think it is.
Yeah, I believe different folders you can actually, or just a single file, you can say, I want to share this, and then you get a link, and you just email that link to the people that you want to share.
Oh, there you go. So we'll be testing with that a little bit too, and we'll figure that out. We're still baby steps, baby steps till we figure out how well it's going to be, and if it's going to get, you know, everybody says, oh, Dropbox is hacked. I don't know if it gets hacked or not. I haven't seen any signs of that. But I certainly get enough emails of tips and suggestions to do with Dropbox, but that's just that. So we're gonna, again, we'll leave that set as it is for now, and start opening it up a little bit later. Let's move on to the Zelle.
Okay. We talked at the last meeting in Prescott about apparently some people wanted the option to pay electronically for their dues every year instead of writing a check. Well, I was able to sign up our account at Wells Fargo to be able to receive Zelle payments. But there were a few glitches. I tried to send a Zelle payment as just a donation to the scholarship fund, but it kicked it back because my email for the Wells Fargo account was the same as the account that I was sending it on. So there are still bugs to work out. But maybe by the time we come to December and we need to get dues again, I might have it figured out by then, but no problem.
Yeah,
I'm still a check. You know, the checks work okay for me.
Yeah, there were some shenanigans that went on between Zelle and Bank of America. I don't know if you guys caught this in you got to go through the back channels getting news anymore. But there was a snafu a couple of months ago now that Zelle went through and just swept money out of a whole bunch of accounts at Bank of America, and they went, oops. Well, the computer program did exactly what it was told to do, folks. I'm sorry, that's the way it goes. So I don't know about that shenanigans. So we're kind of leaving ourselves a little isolated. Now I know down in Tucson, they brought it up that one of the camps was accepting Zelle and it was working real well. So perhaps by the end of the year, we'll have something that we know anything about.
If somebody really wants to send in their dues electronically, we'll make it work for them. But for the time being, if you've still got a checkbook and an ink pen, an envelope and stamps, gotcha.
And another thing with the Zelle, I heard for certain amounts of money, depending on what you do with it, and you put like certain phrases like, oh, it's gonna be for something that's not food or gasoline on the little reasons for sending money, you'll have to put it on your taxes or so. There's some kind of thing where it's like, oh, you're sending so much money somewhere, you're gonna put it on your taxes. And it's like, well, not that much.
Yeah, we'll stick with cash and checkbook for now. I mean, it's working. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, that's part of it. We're just trying to make it more convenient, and it seems to have a little bit of hiccups. And so we'll let that smooth out. Maybe it'll be the thing of the future. They're talking about digital currency coming up.
It may help our brothers in New Mexico. I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll just let that smooth out a little bit.
How soon do you think that digital might be?
There's already different, you know, you hear Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. I kind of take the smell litmus test and it don't smell real good right now. So we'll just, who knows? Who knows? All righty. Well, Brother Dale, you're up still. Let's talk about membership renewals for this year.
All right, yeah, 2023 renewals, we had 33 renewals. We had 5 people who let us know that they did not want to renew. So we issued discharges to those 5 individuals. We have gained, of course, our 1 new member, and we have 1 in the pipeline, I believe, Mr. Bigelow.
Yes, we do.
So now we stand at 34. Our membership is at 34 members, and we have 4 life members in the camp. And during that membership renewal, we collected $473 through the roundup. You know, when I asked if you want to round up your dues to go to the scholarship, we got $473 out of that. That seemed to work well. Thanks, everybody.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Civic entry signs. Avery, Brother Avery.
What do you want me to say?
Where are we standing on that? I think last time.
I emailed you guys, and then you guys said you want to talk about it at the meeting.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about. So the idea is to provide, as you're driving into Flagstaff and into Prescott, on the big board where you always see the Lions Club and all that kind of stuff, they have a sign for SUBCW, just to let us know that we're here. We're here. Now, coming into Flagstaff, it's my understanding that the size of the sign that we were talking about, they said it had to be bigger or something like that.
So the sign from National, if you wanted to do it from National, they said that they would not accept it because they wanted it bigger. Because it would look weird on the sign because every other organization had a bigger sign, and that it would be pointless for us to put it up because nobody would also be able to see it.
Okay.
So then I put in my email the option of purchasing a separate sign privately and just putting our logo on it and doing it bigger, like they said, and it came out to something like $50-60, something like that.
Well, that's not
It's all in
bad.
my email.
What's it? And I saw it go by, but I don't know if everybody saw that email. What's the composition of the sign? Is it metal?
Yeah, it's aluminum.
It's an aluminum sign, and the size. Can you remember the?
I can't. I just remember that it's square, and it's, you know, she gave us 2 size options, and it fits the smallest size option that she allowed. And so,
Okay.
but then there was some debate or whatever about, can you use our logo without permission from National and blah, blah, blah.
So, Brother David, do you know it? The rules
I know
behind.
Copyright, it's fine. And we went through this a while ago with internal stuff like business cards. You don't need permission. So long as it's used within the camp, you're good. Now, if you're going to use it as a welcome sign to Flagstaff and the SUBCW, I would suggest that we get a hold of the Demi or somebody and find out what exactly, if we run into any trouble. You know, you could, but I just couldn't imagine that they would say, no, you're not going to do that. But it wouldn't be, it'd be worth contacting them just to make sure.
Yeah. So let's take that step. Let's find out.
Because why would they say no when they're saying you're turning down our own sign that you guys provide because it's too small.
Right.
So we need a bigger sign.
Right. So.
If I recall, I think even when Jerry Bloom wanted to do the little business cards and hand them out for recruiting, they had to go through all the rigmarole of the copyright.
Yeah, well, then we found out later that we really didn't have to do that, so long as it's internal and that type of thing. So it would really surprise me if National said, nah, we don't want you advertising with us. I mean, that'd be crazy. But it would be worth a check.
And like what Brother Lynn said, how do they know?
Yeah, that's true, but we don't want to step on anybody's toes. Some guy can do, hey,
Yeah,
I didn't
say
approve
ask,
that.
but yeah.
But yeah, I can send an email to Dave Demi. He's been reading my emails for the past week over the annual report.
All right, so we'll wait till we hear something from that, then we'll talk back and forth through email, or we can always have a little meeting online too. That'll work. We'll just keep pursuing that and see what we need to do, and maybe it'd be cheaper for them to make 2 signs, but that was cheap for a sign, as long as we have the artwork and it's in good shape, so. Okay, well, let's move on to new business. Brother Dale, if you want to talk about the encampments, let's talk about what happened at our Department of Southwest meeting. Let's try to we'll be as brief as possible on those because a lot was said down at that meeting.
Okay, the 7th annual Department of Southwest meeting was held on March 11th in Tucson. There were 20 attendees and 17 voting delegates. 5 of the voting delegates were department delegates, 1 delegate from Concho Peak, 7 delegates from Minty Camp. Of course, since it was in Tucson, they were all right there at home. And actually, we had 4 delegates from Grant Camp there at the meeting. We past Department Commander McCord's wife, Laura, took care of the silent auction and the medals and pins sales. She did an excellent job. We made $55 in selling medals and pins, and the silent auction brought in $130. And we still ended up with a whole cart. Brother Heller can probably tell us a whole cart full of books that Jan Huber's widow donated to the department for fundraising activities. How many of those books do we still have left, Jim?
We've got just a ton of books left, and I think she has more on the shelf that she wants to give us. That's why I wanted to come to the meeting this morning there in Flagstaff, but it just didn't work out for me. I was going to bring those books along, and we were going to make a donation to each individual who wanted one. I think instead of trying to sell them, we should just give them away, just try to get rid of them, unless you want to try to make some money on them. But I do have a slug of books left. Thank you very much. And I will be at the next meeting with some. Thank you.
There we go. Yeah, just bring the books on the next meeting in July.
Yeah, and some of them were excellent books. I bought one of them at silent auction. Was an original first edition of the life of Thomas Stonewall Jackson. Yeah, cool book. Cool book. My wife shot me when I got home for another book.
We've seen your bookcase behind you in the Zoom. Yes.
I love Civil War books. And just if you weren't at the encampment, you haven't seen the department order, our new commander is Ken Hooker. He's the past camp commander from Cacho. Very knowledgeable young man, but he's still a working man. So he kind of got roped into this, and we all told him that it's real simple to do. There's nothing for the commander to do but find a venue for the next encampment. Well, he has been embroiled in controversy since the day he took the gavel. Sorry, Brother Ken. Senior vice commander elected was our own Tim Prater. Junior vice commander Todd Hoffag. He's the camp commander at Picacho. Nice young man. I ended up as secretary treasurer once again.
Nice young man.
Once again. And they kept trying to put this secretary treasurer for life on the end of the title.
Emeritus.
But I think I brought an end to that. I will serve this year and next year. That will finish out 10 years as department secretary treasurer. Wow. And I hope they will find someone to take my stead. So I can just be a loudmouth in the corner. Council members, Mr. Mark Haynes from our camp is a council member. He's past camp commander here. Bob McCord is the past department commander twice now. And new brother in Pacho, I believe, Scott Monter. I'm not sure I.
Keep going, it'll roll out your tongue.
Martorano.
There you go.
Scott Martorano. He's a transfer in from Midwest. I think some camp in the Midwest. He's a transfer in and new to our department. Our own brother Heller was the national representative who did the installation for us at the Department of Encampment. Thank you, Jim.
You, sir. Thank you.
And what I'm reading from, this is the first quarterly report from the department commander, the new department commander, Ken Hooker, that just went up to national to present to their Council of Administration for their April meeting, I believe it is. So, Brother Heller introduced as the national representative those 5 proposed recommendations on the sex/gender agenda item, where they wanted to, or they still want to amend our constitution and regulation and add in extra language on who is a male and who is not a male and all of that. He introduced all 5 of those proposed recommendations. There was some controversy because the first one they sent out had an illogical reference in the article and section, which Brother Swanson, Eagle Eye, caught. And then that new one didn't make it all the way out to everyone in the camps. But the department had spirited discussion over those amendments. It went on for a little while. We had some ruffled feathers, but the department pretty much overwhelmingly voted all 5 of them down. So that's going to be in the recommendation going up to the Council of Administration, that the Department of the Southwest voted to not amend our constitution and regulation over the sex gender issue. I like the wording the way it is. It says male. I know what a male is.
There we go.
Another proposal came up, and this was a good one. Brother Dennis Lamb, who's the Secretary Treasurer at Picacho, proposed oak leaf clusters, a little oak leaf cluster pin be authorized for folks that have more than one Civil War ancestor. You can, for a $5 fee, you can send in a supplemental application, just like the original application you did. List, I am the son of and the daughter of and all of that, back to your other ancestors. And he proposed that the oak leaf cluster be used to recognize each of those supplemental ancestors. And it was adopted at the department. So within the department, you can wear an oak leaf cluster above your membership badge, not on the membership badge. You can wear it above the membership badge to signify that you have more than one ancestor that was a Union veteran in the Civil War. Our second recommendation going up to national was our disappointment in the Council of Administration's decision to quit claim our Kit Carson monument. Apparently, it was discussed at the last national encampment and apparently voted upon, but you can't find any documentation on any of this because the last proceeds of the national encampments that are available was 2019. So we don't know actually what was discussed, but apparently in the Council of Administration's minutes that came out in the banner, Avery caught it first, was that the Council of Administration decided to quit claim that monument back to the General Services Administration. And if I understand correctly, it's in front of the monument is in front of the federal building, which is administered by the General Services. So we voted that we were disappointed in that decision, and we would like a little more open communication between national and the department and the camps on what went down in that decision. You know, why did they decide that? I'm sure they just wanted to wash their hands of it, because it is controversial. Kit Carson was a Union veteran, but he was also instrumental in campaigns against Native Americans. So there's some controversy there. We also voted to oppose any additional lineage documentation, which it seems that National wants to vote on this year in New Hampshire on requiring driver's license, birth certificate, marriage certificates, all of that documentation for the stuff that goes on to your Form 3 when you apply. Personally, and I was the one who raised the motion on this opposition. Personally, the application says, I hereby state that everything on this application is true and correct to the best of my knowledge. I want to trust our brothers. I don't want to say, I need your DNA sample, I need your birth certificate, and all of that stuff. We should trust them, and the documentation now that we are asking for is a pension document, or a muster roll, or something that just shows that your ancestor was a Civil War veteran, or a Union Civil War veteran. That to me is fine. I don't want to have 16, 17, 18 page applications come through my desk.
Right on.
But that was sent on us. And one other thing came up. Well, the Jack Holder, that's the name, the Pearl Harbor veteran.
Yep.
That was voted on at the department. And also some discussion came up over the last Union veteran in Arizona and in Maricopa County. Avery found Francis Weddle. There's still some controversy on whether he was ever under Union command or under U.S. command. So it has raised such a stir, and emails have been flying. Let me tell you, back and forth with new Commander Hooker, and he and I kind of got together and we came up with what we hope is a solution to this. He is forming a last soldier committee. He wants 3 volunteers, 1 from each camp, Grant Camp, Picacho, and Minty, to look into this matter and for them to give a recommendation on whether Private Gordon is the last Maricopa County and Arizona veteran, or if it's Mr. Webb. And the department order creating this committee is already drafted and ready to go. Commander Hooker is just waiting to verify the volunteers. Did he contact you?
Yeah, we just haven't hooked up.
Okay, but he's still waiting for that. As soon as he gets the names, we'll let those 3 people, do whatever genealogy they need to do, go through the National Records Administration, whatever they have to do, and come up with a recommendation. And also, one of the other tasks of this committee is to, and it should answer Bob's question and Avery's question about, what are the guidelines from National on this project? You can't find anything on their website. It just has kind of a checklist on kind of things to do and advise the press that you're gonna do this and all of that, but there was no real, okay, this guy would qualify, this guy wouldn't, sailor would, merchant marine wouldn't. So that's what this committee hopefully can get some guidance from National, and then they can make a decision on Mr. Waddle versus Mr. Gordon.
So then does the word of commander ability registration officer national way?
I think it's taken into consideration, and I think let them do whatever politics they need to do.
Can this happen even though it was approved at the department?
I don't think it's been officially.
It was voted.
It was voted at the in-camp, yeah.
So can that happen? Because then
Not if National strikes it down.
National said yes.
But
I haven't seen the email, so you've been in
Yeah,
the middle of all that.
it was voted on at the department encampment, but I don't think we had all the background information that we need, like what are the guidelines from National? Nobody's able to find those.
But if National's saying yes, I'm just
Well,
wondering,
but
can
National, the CNC will not be the CNC of New Hampshire.
so now we have to change.
So,
Oh dear.
yeah,
May I say something?
certainly.
I raised this issue about the markers because some of the states in our periodical says that, like, I forgot one state, New York, had 99 markers up. I don't know if they would give us any information what they were given, or they're just going and doing them all, or assess them all. Let's put the term.
Well, there seems to be.
It was last issue before last that talked about all these states doing all these markers.
There seems to be something about the project or whatever, because if Brother Frail was able to tell me that the dates of the last soldier is different than our membership dates, then
There must be something somewhere.
yeah, so there must be something somewhere. And then also, then there goes up to what is a union veteran, because for instance, a union veteran who cannot be joined under in our organization could be considered a union veteran in our own Graves registration database. And it could also be included in, the last thing as well.
And there's also confusion. The actual name of the project is the Last Soldier Project.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even say union. And Brother David says, well, maybe a sailor wouldn't qualify. So.
Well, I found a thing on the website where it says that the Last Soldier Project is now known as the Last Union Veteran Project. And the purpose of the project is to locate and mark the resting place of the last Civil War soldier buried in each county. So then that would also answer the question on Zoom where
that just said the verbiage was last Civil War soldier. Would that include a Confederate?
Well, no, they said Last Union Veteran Projects. It says embarked on the Last Soldier Project is now known as the Last Union Veteran Project. The purpose of the project is to locate and appropriately mark the final resting place of the last Civil War soldier buried in each county and parish.
So, yeah, I did find online that some of the departments, one that comes to mind, Department of Wisconsin, they actually wrote out the whole list of qualifications that they had to go through.
I think it's up to it seems like it's up to the department or it's up to something.
You see, that's the problem. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
What did the CNC, what information did he get? What information did he base his decision on?
Correct.
We're talking about grave registration. It's very specific in the grave registration manual. that State service is not accepted. It has to be federal service and you have to have served under a federal law.
He was accepted in
If
the
you were a state, I'm talking about grave registration. I'm not talking about that.
No, he was accepted in the grave registration database.
Whether he could prove that or not, but they're very specific. So there are a lot of questions, and I think that's probably why.
Henry Duquette shared with me that what you consider a Union veteran has been voted on by the committee who's in charge of that to implement militia and state troop service and things like that.
So, and myself and Ken Hooker, the new, we were watching all of these emails back and forth, and nothing was getting decided. So I'm hoping that this committee of three, let them look into it, find out what they can find out, come up with recommendations, and those recommendations will then go to Commander Hooker, and he will make a decision at that.
And who's the committee?
Pardon?
Who's the committee gonna be?
One person or one volunteer from each camp.
But like the volunteers, does that mean that it's gonna be like me and David Jackson again?
Well, I think that.
Or should we be taken out? And then,
that was the discussion between myself and Ken Hooker, is we thought that the people that had a dog in the fight probably should not be on the committee.
yeah, I agree. I think they can like.
Avery's had enough.
They can send their documents
Right.
to the committee and
Oh,
then
yeah,
that can be.
and that'll be in the department order, asking all of the brothers in the department to cooperate in whatever manner, shape, or form. If you've already done research on this, I'm sure this committee would love to see that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm hoping I didn't put you on the spot, but I think I indicated that I thought Tim would be a very good representative from Grant Camp to be on this committee. I think Picacho is going to volunteer David Lamb, and we're not sure who Minty is gonna ask.
I don't know if it should be also be like, I don't know if the committee would care, but I know the great granddaughter of Bud.
Yeah, and
So-
I'm sure they would want all that information.
Yeah, she's in Litchfield Park, so she's.
Yeah. And in fact, to make it easier too, we added into the department order that this committee is allowed to spend funds if they need to get records from the National Records and Archives.
Yeah.
Or this, that's a good question though. Has anybody tried that Gopher Records? They're advertised in the banner. Apparently he lives in Washington DC, and he will go to the National Archives for half the price that they are charging and get the records for you. Has anybody used them?
I've ordered some records. So I've ordered records from the Commonwealth of Kentucky. There says honorable service, and then his unit is listed under Union regiments that were in the Civil War for the book. With the archives, like the National Archives, it would display why his pension would be denied, but it would not show any service records or anything like that because he was a state troop, so they wouldn't have that. So it would say why he was denied, but then also you could be denied a pension, but then join, another union organization, things like that.
Yeah, and from what I understand, I think Brother Conrad gave a presentation. Was it at the Minty Camp? I think I sat in on the Zoom on how the pensions evolved. There were different, it went on for a while, and there was these, qualifications that you had, and then it was changed. And it's like anything.
Yeah, it changes for the
Nothing's
years.
ever-
Like you go, a few years later, and then, they finally do the exception that Confederate veterans are, American veterans in the 50s, and then the honorable widow pensions that people are given, and you have all that. And then also just recently you have the National Guard is now considered veterans too, I believe.
So, this committee's got a lot of smoothing over, I guess, that they'll have to work with. But I think we've got a good candidate here that will be able to do that. And any other questions about the department encampment? It was a bit contentious, a little bit.
We've got a Dale. That's all I've got to say. That I sat there and just smiled.
And we wouldn't let them order lunch until we were done with all of the business. There were a lot of growling stomachs before I was finished.
And they actually reelected you as secretary treasurer.
Now, we have to give credit where credit's due here. Brother Heller was tasked with giving the national side of it while being a member of the department down here. So he was trying to make sure he didn't have any cabbage or carrots or eggs thrown at him by us contentious people. So God bless you, Brother Heller, for doing a great job there at the.
Thank you very much, Rick. I appreciate it, Commander.
That was a tough one to do, and you're very much appreciated. So the only other thing I want to bring up is that the national is the 3rd to 5th of August. Brother Horton is attending. Is anybody else here going out to national?
I'll be at the Daughters of the Union.
You're going to the Daughters. Yeah. Well, that's in Oklahoma,
Yeah.
right? So, yep, got my daughter's pin on today, so that's cool. So
I would like to go. New Hampshire's a long.
that's a long ways away, man.
Yeah.
So that's way up in August here. We'll have another meeting between here and there, talk about that. The rest of the items on the new business, we've already talked about Jack Holder. I've listed all of the ROTC, Eagle Scouts, Memorial Day cleanup on the new business. We don't have to go through all of that. It's self-explanatory. If anybody's going to attend there and do not know where they're going, contact myself or Brother Tim, and we will get you in the right parking lot at least going further. So everybody doing okay? We need to stretch a little bit. Are we good?
We got one subject we wanted to bring up.
What's on the list? Any other new business?
Tim and I have been working on establishing. All this stuff
There's a microphone there.
Tim and I have been working on establishing presentations for the junior ROTC programs in and around our area. And one of the things that's helping us make these presentations is the pamphlet of our Constitution. And so at the end of the month, we're making a presentation to the Prescott High School Junior ROTC program, which they have 150 cadets there. And so I've been working for the last 2 years with the entity that used to be involved with the Joe Foss Institute. And that institute has been incorporated into ASU's program. And that's the School of Civic and Economic Thought and Leadership. Obviously, that statement had to be written by some PhD. It's taken 2 years for them to produce this document. We used to get documents for the Constitution that cost 29 cents. But ASU didn't like the fact that her name wasn't on that particular document. So they recreated this document. This document cost $4. So, and in this document, we have the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, the Gettysburg Address, and I Have a Dream speech. And so we'll be giving these out to the cadets. So we've received 200 pamphlets of these so far to give out to the cadets that we're going to be talking to. Tim and I were smart enough to realize that we might
we might want to validate who we are and that we're not some creepy people that want to go into the schools and cause problems. So Tim suggested that we get a level 1 fingerprint clearance card from the State of Arizona Department of Public Services, which is a 10-year program. So now we can go to the schools, get our little card validated, the fact that we're not some creepy people that are giving presentations. And so it's ironic that now ASU is creating some kind of, don't forget, this whole program with that document had to do with PhD people. These guys they think in the biggest world possible, and all we want is to produce these little documents for us. And it's taken 2 years to do that. So Tim and I will be representing both the Sons of American Revolution and the Sons of Union Veterans when we make these presentations. And it's going to be fun. We made a kind of a trial run at Bradshaw Mountain Junior High School at 7:15 in the morning. Please do not schedule anything at 7:15 in the morning with young people, because they
was there
are
at
zombies
7:15.
and they don't want to participate. You question them and it's a yes or no type thing. So we have scheduled this with the Phoenix or the Prescott High School that we want to be there after 10 o'clock or sometime in the afternoon. So we have 3 presentations to make. It's going to be fun. And these documents are what I would consider too expensive, and they don't even have an index to tell you what page to turn to if you want to talk about something.
And ASU may come up with that.
Pardon?
And ASU may come up with that.
Well, that's another thing that originally they wanted to send somebody up to validate that we were giving a presentation. Then they were going to set up some kind of classroom activity that were going to teach us how to make these presentations. Don't forget, these are PhDs thinking like this, have yet to get to the reality of what it takes to do this. So we just went ahead and started putting ourselves out and to make it happen. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And we think that if ASU approves it, so they're sending somebody up, we're going to actually, I think we're going to have the school have videos of us giving these presentations. So obviously that can be given to ASU to validate the fact that we're doing it in accordance to the concept of the big picture. Cool. So if you have any questions about our presentation, our thoughts, please ask. Yes.
How did you raise the $800 for the booklets that you're giving out?
We told them we were not capable of funding the program. They would have to fund it themselves. So they gave us all the $400, 800 or 200 deals at this time. And hopefully
That was from ASU?
Yes.
Okay.
Sweet. So we were kind of shocked and
It doesn't mean that's what's gonna happen.
yeah, it may not happen in the future, but this is where it stands now.
That worked.
I might have a suggestion. It sounds like ASU kind of wanted to take over this whole project. I wonder, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Dr. Ben Carson, brain surgeon. He ran for president.
Right.
a couple
Yes,
years ago.
yes.
But he's got a young child and young adult program, I believe, but they are also giving out Constitution and Bill of Rights.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they may be
Well,
able to do it for less than $4.
That's what I'm saying. The Joe Foss Institute was able to get smaller pamphlets, just the Constitution, not all this other stuff. And consequently, it was 29 cents that they paid for the pamphlet.
Yeah.
So
And it sounds like a wonderful program. You know, right?
well, there's they want to get involved, but like I say, they just can't focus in on the little narrow thing that we want to do. They're working on, how the world turns, and we don't know how the world turns. So that's the way it works. All right.
Mr. Joe Fox was a great man. I got to have dinner with
Oh,
him.
he was quite a character, understand. One of the stories about Joe Foss is he was governor of North Dakota?
South Dakota, I believe.
Yes. And so he was flying with his friends. They were, back in those days, they were trying to get rid of all of the coyotes that were killing animals and that kind of stuff. So he would fly around with his buddy at low level shooting at coyotes.
Aerial gunning.
And so what they do, then he would actually land in the field and they would throw the dead carcass in the back of the plane. Well, unfortunately, they take off and the coyote wasn't dead.
Oh.
So his buddy's out there, he's trying to focus, and Joe's saying, don't shoot a gun in my plane, please. So anyway, that's the kind of thing that Joe Foss could get involved in. That was pretty interesting.
Cool. Great man.
So if there are
He
no-
was on the NRA board of directors. He was also the NF.
And was a big instigator in getting the Super Bowl stuff. So
Quite a man.
what a character. All right. I think no more questions. Thank you, Brother Dick. Any other new business? We move to the fun part now. All right. Does anybody need a comfort break? Are we doing okay, everybody? Yeah, take a stand. Get the fingers working again. Good deal. While we're relaxing around, Brother Tim, please step forward.
I guess.
He doesn't know what he's in for now, guys, but that's the way she's gonna go here. Department of Southwest meeting. I have the privilege of giving you commendation for meritorious service. I can't even say it. Meritorious service from the Department of Southwest to Brother Tim Prater.
Thank you.
How you like that, huh, guys? Huh? Thank you. Fantastic. But wait, there's more. I could have been a nuisance.
Look at my date said 2019 on it. So Drew say 2019 on it too?
Our past commander, Tim Prater's plaque from the, I'll read it right here. Special thanks for your dedication and excellence as Camp Commander 2022-2023, Sons of Union Veterans of Civil War. This is from Grant Camp. Huzzah. Now let me show this off to the brothers on Zoom here. This is something, man, I tell you. How's that, guys? Yeah, that's something. There you go. You gotta wave here. Fantastic. This is for you. I have stuff we can put that in. Hooray. I had some other awards to hand out, but some of our brothers didn't make it. And I will be mailing some. There you go. Well, fantastic. We'll get to turn back to the front here for just a quick second here. See, I got to be the cameraman too. There we go. Couple other things that happened down at department meeting was that Brother David Palmentier got his 10-year service award. And I was hoping he would be able to make it today, but I know he had a company coming in from out of town. There's something about being snowed in the mountains, I'm sure too. So we'll let him use that as an excuse, but he got a nice award and a 10-year pin. Put that right up there if you can see the 10. Oh, you can't really see it too well on
Very
that.
nice.
So 10-year pin, and he got himself a very nice certificate for that. 10 years, that's something. That's something. All righty. Fantastic. So let's move on to, everybody's pretty much back from breaks and stuff like that. Brother Heller, our patriotic instructor, is going to give us a presentation. We haven't done any presentations for a while because we've been doing so much politics. Let's get back to the fun stuff of why we come to these meetings. And that's to get some history about who we are and who we came from. So without any other delay, Brother Heller, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Commander. I hope everybody can hear me. Not talking for so long, I get a little bit hoarse. So, as everybody knows, I've been can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody knows I've been the patriotic instructor now for a long time. I think the last time I had anything to say about a patriotic instruction was when I introduced the little drummer boy. And that was a rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat. And there was a long story behind him. But anyway, I am now not only the camp's patriotic instructor, I'm also the department patriotic instructor. And Brother Benjamin Frail, when he saw that, he said, well, it's good. At least I know who you are and I know what you can do. So, of course, Benjamin Frail is Chief of Staff, Past Post Commander, and he is the National Patriotic Instructor for SUCVW. And I believe he is the son of Bruce D. Frail, CNC. But anyway, getting away from that and moving on to my presentation, Brother Frail is working on the same thing that we've been working on for a long time, and that is increasing our membership. And these are some of the things that he mentioned in his newsletter that I was certainly happy to find online. And he goes on to say, as you might have noticed by now, most of my monthly instructions are about how we are to grow the order through patriotism. Whether it is showing our patriotic ways to the community or social media or with other organizations that are like-minded. However, this month I have decided to dedicate the National Patriotic Instruction to the 160th anniversary of the first Medal of Honor being presented on 25 March, 1863. Secretary of the War Edward M. Stanton, on behalf of President Abraham Lincoln, awarded Private Jacob Parrott of the 33rd Ohio the Medal of Honor for his actions during the Andrews Raid, also known as the Great Locomotive Chase. And that was on it was on the TV internet, one of the movies that they produced, and it was quite an exciting movie. But anyway, one of the medals of honor for his won the Medal of Honor for this action during the Arizona Raid, also known as the Great Locomotive Chase. The Medal of Honor is the highest decoration anyone in the United States Armed Forces can receive. Since the inception in 1861, there have been 3,535 medals of honor that have been issued to members of the military. A vast majority of these were issued to those during the American Civil War, including the only female to have ever received the Medal of Honor, Dr. Mary Edward Walker, as well as the youngest who ever received the Medal of Honor, William Johnson III, Vermont Infantry, who was 11 years old and 356 days old at the time of the action. The citation vary in detail and the level of bravery, but they were all share one thing in common. They were willing to do anything and everything in their ability to not only serve the Union, but to be there for their fellow soldiers, sailors, and Marines. In 1916, the Review Board was created to examine every Medal of Honor recipient as until then, there was no other medal to be issued for a failure in the United States military, and the standards once were to do receive the medal and received and increased. The review board found that of the 2,625 medals that they reviewed, 911 did not meet the new standard and were rescinded. Of this 911, one was issued after a second review in 1977, that being to Dr. Mary Walker Wood. And 5 additional ones were issued after the third review in 1989. Scott Williams H. Woodell became the only Civil War recipient. Both were originally rescinded because they were civilians working for the Army and not soldiers. After these review boards, the total issued to these for the American Civil War was 1,523. So he goes on to say that he has a challenge, and my challenge is to all you, for you this month, which is March, is simple. Learn more about local Medal of Honor recipients. Share their story. Don't let their sacrifice be forgotten, as this is part of our mission. I look forward to seeing and hearing about these brave souls in the coming months, whether it be in face-to-face conversation or being posted on social media, or by seeing their gravestone and doing a little digging. That's a poor share. That is a poor pre-sharing, but you know what I mean. Anyway, what I think what's going to happen along this, I'm going to go ahead and take the lead on this, being at the department PI, and I'm going to be looking throughout the state for Medal of Honor winners, and see if we can't figure out how many are in the state, where they're buried, and we'll go from there. Each patriotic instructor from each camp, I will be in touch with them to let them know what our program is going to be going forward. So, and that is the end of my report. It was hard to determine what to talk about, but so I'm very happy that I went on board and found out that Brother Frail already done a lot of this work for me. So that's the end of my report. Do I have any questions? No questions. Okay, very good. I have one other comment, and that's about the coyotes in the airplane that came along and attacked everybody. Well, as everybody knows, that I was a postman, and I had one of my compatriots at the post office came back into the office one day and said, "I quit. I'm through with this post office." And so everybody said, "What happened?" Well, I was driving along the road, and I went by a embankment that was about the size of the window, and a dog right through the window, and I fought him off for about 5 minutes before I finally got him stopped and got him out of the car. So it not only happens in airplanes, it happens to postal employees also. And that's my final comment. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Jim, I have a question or
Okay.
statement. I think our grave registration may have entered if we knew a person was Medal of Honor. I don't know how we can sort that out. But
are you looking for Medal of Honor graves?
Yes, well, you know, and I thought about that also, and that is really fine. I just didn't want to load anybody else up with any kind of a job when I will talk to these people with grave registration people individually and see where these people that's part of the project to find out where they're buried and what we have done to recognize them over the years.
Are you only looking for Medal of Honor people who won the Medal of Honor per the Civil War?
You know, I don't think we'll do that. I think we'll go for any Medal of Honor winner.
There's a Civil War veteran who's buried in Greenwood Cemetery, right by the cemetery office, and he won a Medal of Honor, but during the Indian Wars.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that we were not talking necessarily about the SUCVW winners. And if we are, then we're leaving out a large portion of the people who are probably interned here in Arizona or still living here in Arizona that can come to our meeting or give us some insight of how they're feeling and which battle and which war they fought in. You know, the WW2 guys now are leaving, and you know, I think we had when I first joined the American Legion, we had about 92 WW2 guys, and we're down to about 30 now, and that's over an 8-year period, and they're just going rapidly. So we could look at the Korean War, we can look at Vietnam, we can look at all the rest of these wars, but first let's do the Civil War, and we'll work on that, and then we'll spread out from there. I don't think Benjamin Frail will have any heartache about that. At least we're doing something. So that's my answer to that. So, and thank you very much for bringing that to my attention.
Fantastic.
Any other questions?
Looks like we're good. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Now we have something unique going on here today. Brother Smith is standing. That's good. Brother Swanson, please stand up. Brother Mark, please stand up. Brother Tim, please stand up. Brother Dale, please stand up. All of our commanders of this camp are here in the past. Let's give them a round, guys. Let's give them a round. We're gonna get a photograph later on of all the commanders here, but this is the first I've seen it all have been here. Go right ahead, bro.
Okay. What I'd like to ask is that all past commanders come up here, please, for a picture. I'll tell you why.
We're gonna do a real quick picture photo op.
That's why I say I'm so happy our
Commander number one.
number two.
Some of you guys.
A long time ago, we started out with an individual by the name of Jack Van Dusen, who absolutely loved everyone. And he made these wooden bowls and plates. And one day he made me a gavel. I said, well, I'm going to give the gavel to Dale. And Dale said, no, you give it to the camp. And so then we run into Bill Nelson, who inscribed on here, Bill Nelson group. It says Jack Van Dusen, in the U.S. Grand Camp 2015. And I think this is just an excellent opportunity to get the past 8 years, what is it, 8 years now?
2015.
2015, 8 years.
You know, and all I know is the best man is the one standing in front. Whoa, whoa, I'm sorry. But Bill Nelson, in addition to, when we look at this, is I asked him to do that. And then he made this stand out of 245 caliber, 44, whoops, 44 caliber in the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
And so we now have this, we can sit here and do that, and then we'll always have a place to rest. And
There
this
should be a
will
plate.
have- Oops, I did it again.
There should be a plate also.
Well, there is a plate. A plate?
A plate.
I
No, a
forgot.
big plate.
Thanks for
A big plate.
Very nice.
It's a big plate that my
Oh,
wife
yeah,
put
that's-
around.
Hey, Bob, thanks for that. I forgot to bring it, but thanks for the reminder.
Here we go. So
By the way, it was Jack Nelson, not Bill. So I'd just like to get a picture. Where's our little,
what do you want?
let's hold that. And then we'll stand here.
You're down here. You're down.
I'm down, oh geez.
Oh my goodness.
There, what a good looking
Now
tree.
you look.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, maybe I gotta get my hand.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're gonna do it that way.
What do you need?
Lois, what if we did it by each? Would that be better?
By 8?
Beyond just to the-
I'm on the wrong end then.
We're in line now. One, two, three.
Who's our founder? Wait 1 second. Celeste is all right. There you go. You look good. Yeah. Make it six.
Okay.
This will be on milk cartons all over America. It'll be on milk cartons all over America. There we go.
I was gonna say, can you get one with you guys in front of the flags? That way we have full flag.
Oh, we can do that.
And also maybe, from commander of foods that pass down.
Oh, boy, goodness. Tim,
Just something like that, maybe,
okay, so let's arrange this. Tim, you're by me. Tim by me.
You're going the other way.
Then Dale.
And, do you want to face the?
No, then Bill. I'm sorry. God, I forgot Bill. Gee, buddy, Christmas. Then Dale. There we go. Now we're in order.
Then the shorter side.
Oops, I got you guys close up and personal, guys. So now we're in order by
What a good looking.
fantastic.
Unbelievable.
We were in line by.
Oh.
That's it?
Okay, so
All of the post office.
it'll be on the post office. So let's move on to our almost done, guys. We're going to move on to our next presentation. We have a guest speaker today, Brother A.B. France, who's going to talk about Jefferson Davis and the camels in Arizona Territory. Do you have a microphone? Do you have a mic?
I think it's not like.
There we go.
Thank you.
Do the descendants of the camels qualify as members?
They possibly could.
Let me get this stuff out of the way here. Go up behind. Yeah, just go up behind the bar up there. The bar. There we go. All right.
Okay, so my presentation is Jefferson Davis and his camel experiment. Lately, Jefferson Davis has been scrubbed out of the camel experiment, and they don't even mention him anymore. But he was secretary of during the time of the military. Was it secretary of the military?
Secretary of
War. Okay. Yeah, he was secretary of war during the time. And he's the one who actually came up with the idea to bring camels to the U.S. The reason why was because all the ideas to bring railroads through the West failed. And they were wondering how they were going to get things transported because they only had mules and horses at that time. And so Jefferson Davis came up with the idea of bringing camels to Arizona, and Flagstaff has the camel trail actually go through it because it follows Route 66. So it goes. Yep. Yeah, it goes, and there's also a camel trail. I just want to say too, kind of by Williams. So if you guys want to hike it, there's even a little camel sign and everything. But Jefferson Davis stated in his own memo that he thought that camels could be the gunships of the desert. He thought that they could carry cannons with them and haul everything around, and then they'd be better than horses as well because they wouldn't need so much water, so they'd be great throughout Arizona. So in 1856 and 1857, 77 Syrian camels were taken from the Middle East, with each camel having their own little camel jockey from the Middle East as well, which I thought was kind of interesting. So not every camel of the 77 came to Arizona. some stayed in Texas where they were dropped off in, and they were used also during the time of the Civil War, because then the Confederacy had camels, but to do mail. They would go around and deliver mail to people and things like that. But they were taken to Arizona, and Edward Beale was in charge of surveying the route, which was to start from Fort Defiance and then go to the Colorado River. And so at that time, Edward Beale made the Beale Trail, the Beale Camel Trail. So that's why it's named after Beale. And even though all the soldiers complained about the camels because of their nasty attitudes of spitting on people and biting people and also scaring the horses, Edward Beale still said that the camels were successful and he would not give up on the idea that camels were good in Arizona, nor did Jefferson Davis either. And during the time, camels were also at Camp Verde. They're used as pack animals at one time as well. And there also was a time as well where if you needed to, let's say, make a road or something, you could rent out a camel from the military, and then you could use that camel to help you pave your road to your ranch, or, you know, things like that. But then the Civil War came, and they didn't really think that they needed camels that much anymore, and they weren't really useful. So the camel experiment there kind of failed because of the Civil War. But the camels were actually let loose. And then we had a idea as well where we had Union camels and Confederate camels, because you had the Confederate Army down south would take camels that were running away, and you could capture them and you could use them. And then you also had the Union up north who were using camels for mining, for like salt mines and things like that up here. And also to, you know, make roads. They actually helped make the Butterfield Stage Road in 1860. So they did do some things. And there was also a group of camels that ran off and made their way all the way to Arkansas. And they were captured and then used to also carry mail around for the Confederacy. And there's also a camel buried at Vicksburg Cemetery that was at the battle, and he died. So he's a veteran. So next thing you know, Arizona has a bunch of camels running all over the place, and they were throughout the entire state. And so miners, they would also capture the camels sometimes, and they would use them for mining like the Union did as well. But then later, they kind of fell out of fashion too, because of technology and that mules seemed to be friendlier. And because horses and mules could not work around a camel because they would be frightened. So that's why they kind of got rid of them. So then they had no idea what to do with the camels. So most of them got let loose. Some of them got sold to a circus in Chicago. And then I also forgot too, there was a camel herd in southern Arizona that the Confederacy owned. And when the California column came through, they didn't want the camels confiscated, so they sent them to Mexico. So after the Civil War, they then took the camel herd from Mexico and they brought it back up, and then they decided they had no use for the camels anymore. So they also got let loose too. So it was said that wild camels walked around Arizona until 1905, really. You could still see camels out in the desert. You could see camel skulls and things like that still if you can look for them. And but the last camel did not die until 1934 because there was somebody driving and they noticed a camel crossing from Yuma to California, and they captured it and they named her Toxie, and she was sold to the circus and she was transported around in the circus, but she was famous because she was declared the last army camel alive. not exactly true because that would say that the camel, they were claiming that the camel was 80 years old, but camels do not live to 80 years old. They live up to about 50. So most likely Topsy was the daughter of one of the military camels because she was also a Syrian camel, which makes sense because High Jolly was from Syria, things like that. So they did use Syrian camels. So anyways, she was sold to the circus and she traveled around on the circus and then she got in a circus accident when the railroad cars ran off the rail and it collapsed her hump. So they sent her to Griffith Park in Hollywood. And so there she lived basically in Hollywood and she met a camel partner and she had 2 son camels, Prince and Vanity. And during that time, at her time at Griffith Park, she became a movie star. And she starred in movies and usage around movie sets, and she made $50 a month. So the zoo joked that they could sustain themselves just from the movie star of Topsy, their camel, and nothing else. But her son, Prince and Vanity became the largest captive camel in America. And then Prince and Vanity became famous too, and they were born to her probably about when she was 50, 40 years old, so she was quite old. But they ended up putting her down in 1934 because she had paralysis. And so they took her and they cremated her and they stuck her ashes in the tomb of High Jolly in Quartzsite, Arizona, which High Jolly is known as the last camel jockey of Arizona. So there's like a little circle on High Jolly's tomb on the pyramid, and that's where the ashes are inserted because they thought that because they claimed that she was the last military camel and he was the last military person, that it would be correct if they put her ashes in his grave with her. And then Prince and Vanity, they had children too, and they're still in California, and there's also some in Chicago that were sold to a circus. So there are still Civil War descendant camels that are related to veterans that are around in America still. So I wanted to pass these pictures around. That this is Topsy right here, and I'll pass it around. And then this is Topsy, and then this is also her sons, Prince and Vanity. So yeah, that's it. That's camel experiment here in Arizona.
Awesomeness.
Is there any chance we can have these camels be honorary members of the bank?
They have to fill out.
I'm not taking any motions for camels joining our camp right now. Sorry, guys. All right. Well, thank you. I enjoy the history, and I learned more than I really wanted to learn today, so that was fantastic. Oh, golly. Well, our next meeting is going to be on July 8th at the Hassayampa Inn in Prescott. That's on 122 East Gurley. Most of us know where that is. We've been there. If not, the address is on there. Use your navigation. Please come to the next meeting in Prescott on July 8th. We'll start at, we'll show up at 11 and we'll start the meeting at noon as normal. It'll be a hybrid meeting for Zoom as well. So with that said, Chaplain Moore, please deliver our closing prayer.
Our Heavenly Father, we pray that you will deal with the events of this meeting as you deem proper and fitting. Please answer the heartfelt prayers of each of us as permitted in your perfect will. Preserve us in strength and health, strength and integrity while we remain here and when our mission on this earth is ended, take us to a better world. Amen.
Amen. Officers, brothers, and guests, we are about to leave this camp and return to our respective homes. Let us strive to regulate our conduct to bring honor and credit to the order. Thank you for your attendance and devotion to our camp. I now declare the General U.S. Camp Number 3, Department of Southwest, Sons and Union Veterans of Civil War, closed until our next meeting on 08 July 2023 in Prescott, Arizona.